Hey guys, how's everyone doing? It's Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. I've got another little video I might post before this one as well, but I intended on pulling a couple of these bigger saws out and running them today, but weather ain't cooperating, so we'll just do what we can in between rain showers. First, we've got the ms660. Take note, I've not had this saw on a piece of wood in well over a year. Got us a big super knotty piece of hemlock. GoPro makes things look smaller than they are usually, but you know, there's my hand. Pretty good sized piece of wood. Knots all in it. Should be a good test. I'll probably come in from the other side to keep from dealing with that knot that's in it, but and I will say that I don't run this saw a lot, mainly due to the air filter setup that's on it. It's horrible. I am going to do a max flow on it as well as some other mods, but I think I've shown porting this on the channel. There's several videos on it. I don't think I showed porting it, but the port work maybe, but it's got the old KS cylinder. It is 85cc, 52mm bore, and timing on these things is, you know, really good, and it's one of those that I've done some hand machine work to, so you'll see it's just kind of on a whole different level than some of the other saws you're used to seeing, but these things are getting hard to find, so don't really get it out and beat on it too much. You can see she flat out gets with it. That's a brand new out of the box Farmer Tech chain, full comp, chisel bit, square ground, really aggressive, and that saw will just pull through anything with whatever you want to pull on it. It's just a freaking beast. But we might try to get the Chinese 660. I don't know that I'll debar it. If the bar and chain that's on it's good, we may just run it. I might put this bar and chain on the 99cc saw just to get an idea of how they compare, but you can see there's knots all in this thing we're dealing with. Pretty hard old piece of wood, but I'll bring you back in a little bit. It is raining again. Maybe it'll slack up, but we got the 99.5cc saw out. Fired right up just fine. Same bar and chain, so I guess we'll just see which one's the baddest. Obviously this saw and a big huge piece of wood, you know, big piece of red oak, 3 foot through or something, is going to be stronger than the smaller bore saw, but then again, who knows? I don't know. Port timing on this one was pretty good. I'd mentioned in a couple other videos it did have a really late intake opening, but you know, that's easy to deal with, no big deal. Nickel seal top end from the Duke, real good looking piece. There's video on the saw. I don't really want to get into detail again on it, but we started the old sort of busted up cases I'd bought off eBay, and a, you know, a good OEM crank. I think it had a coil on it too, but nickel and dime, that's about all I can say. But hopefully it quits raining and we can put it in that same piece of wood. Alright guys, so this log is getting down to where I don't have a whole lot left of the big knotty stuff, and I'm gonna have to be careful. I'm 3 or 4 inches from the 2x6 it's sitting on, but I started this thing inside. It does have a decomp, OEM decomp, but it blows out every time. Really rich. Let me grab a screwdriver right fast and lean it out. That's awesome saw. That is a bad saw. It's I can mainly tell I can lean on it just a little harder than the 064. I don't know, in that size of wood it probably ain't a lot of difference, but timing on them's actually fairly similar, but you know, aftermarket cylinder versus a German made one. No 64 does have a meteor piston with cabers. I laid out that thing's even the rings are seated. I probably put maybe a couple cords of wood on it or something. And for those of you that don't know that are new, we do cut a shitload of firewood here through the fall, winter, and early spring. Hell, I cut them up through the summer this year. We've got wood everywhere here and the property. You never have too much firewood if you burn it. But what I may do next is I'll pull this bar and chain off anyway. We may I'll look at the chain that's on the 660. Seemed like the last time I used it we fell the big maple up at Dad's place and some other trees with it, but I don't know. I'll have to look at the chain and see what's up. But the log's not near as big now, but you know, we can still play around with it and cut a few cookies, but I'll bring you back then. Alright guys, next I've decided, being it was just sitting there, not ran it in forever. I think I may have started it up in a video a month or so ago. Farmer Tech 440 kit saw. This was another one. Everything, you know, had a really nice top end came with it, you know. We showed putting it together in a little series, or, you know, most of it anyway, but I ain't ran it in longer than I can remember. I know there was snow on the ground the last time I ran it, so, you know, we're looking 8, 9, 10 months ago or something. That we'll get it back here and put it in a piece of wood, but, you know, this saw's like a 372, you know, it's light, packs a big punch. Just really, really good saws. I can't wait to do the 460 kit I got coming. I do have an 046 over here, but there's a little sentimentality to that saw, so I don't know. We'll do something with it one day, but I ain't gonna go completely overboard with it either. But yeah, let's get back here and get this thing in a little wood while it ain't raining. She's getting down there a little smaller, you know, still pretty good, probably a little over a foot in both directions. And this thing, I started it back in a video a while back, but again, it's been a while, so I think we're good about knots over here, so we can lap some off of this side, I guess. And I've not started this either, so. I swear, guys, I don't know why a man would need a saw that cut any better than that. It sure does rip. That saw was flat out ripper. I don't know that I have a 372 that runs any better, you know. The big bores maybe, but I don't remember the exact numbers on this thing. I do remember squish was pretty tight, you know, everything. We more than likely did, you know, I guess you could call it machine, I don't know, but we decked a little off of the base is what I usually call it. I've got several ways I do that, by hand, or one of you asked how to take the top of a piston down. If you're really careful, a power sander of your choice, not a, you know, vibrating or oscillating, but belt sander, surface grinder, orbital. I've had some Farmer Tech cylinders here that were so bad I took a big belt sander and cut the base of down. It just, you know, then, you know, you need to go back in the flat block and, you know, a straight edge and make sure everything's good and true. But, you know, can be done, and I've heard of a lot of other guys doing it as well. But, you know, like I said in that other video, we've cut down bends that looked really rough. I shown in the video, you know, how I go about that, and we've cut bases down, but on the Husqvarna cylinders, I've yet to find a way to do it that does it right. It would about have to have a lathe, I guess. But it's a pretty strong saw. I thought it was a little lean on the load yet, but it just took a little while to warm up to where it would take the throttle easily. But pretty chilly out too here, and it, you know, hadn't been ran in forever, putting a piece of wood in forever. So this is one of them we really need to get out and beat on some, I guess. But like I said, so many damn saws, it's, you know, about crazy. But I'll debar this one and clean it up, put it back up, and we may end with a couple more kit saws. If I don't, we'll end here. It's starting to get dark, but I believe the chains are good on the 660 and the 880. If they are, we may get those out, and kind of going to be pointless to run them in that small piece of wood, but whatever, we'll still have fun, and, you know, that's all what it's all about anyway. Alright guys, so a piece of wood's getting down pretty small. I don't know how wide it is, 8. It may be right at a foot, give or take. Not ran this saw since back in the summer. Looks like it still has plenty of fuel in it. don't do that. Don't leave your saws sitting full of fuel. Except we switch saws in and out a lot. I build on my, keep bar and chain on them while and put some time on them, then throw them on a shelf and go to the next one. We have damn near more saws than I care to mention, but like I said, we need to part with a few. But I don't know, let's see how hard this thing is to start. There's several videos on this saw. I don't know what kind of shape the chain's in. Those saws ain't no joke. Alright guys, it's dark out now and I'm not blind. You'll see those people that claim they can't see in the dark, but I truly am one of the people that are unfortunate enough to suffer from night blindness. I've had it my whole life. It is what it is. Not to say we ain't ran a saw in the dark before, but you know, it ain't the smartest thing in the world to do. But with that said, damn, if this thing's not a ripper. I just grabbed it off the shelf the way it was set, and it's one of the go-to saws I just kind of leave sitting around. I think the last time we ran it, the big maple that we ran the John's Red and the 365 in, it's probably a little over 2 foot at the stump. Dad was having some roads cut in and a couple ponds up at his place, and the excavator guy is a little more than he wanted to push over, so we cut that one down, and the saw just kind of blew his mind at how quick the tree was put on the ground. He came down, was asking about it, and, you know, just wanted to know what it was, but, with that said, my wife bought this thing for me for Christmas last year. Hell, I think we put it together on Christmas Day. I know there was snow on the ground anyway, but, I don't think I used anything on it but what come in the kit. Everything farmer took. Didn't go too crazy with port work, you know. Timing on these, in my opinion, for what I want, ain't the greatest in the world, but to my understanding, they're a little better than some of the OEM 660s. Those 66 we done a while back for Simple Man, port timing on it was pretty good, but, I put this together to mill with. We broke it in cutting trees, cutting firewood, and this spring I milled a shit ton of lumber with it. I shown a lot of it, but there was a lot we milled I didn't show just because, you know, taking a camera with you kind of gets aggravating all the time, but I try to show a lot of what we do, and, you know, like I said earlier, take that in mind, we do cut a lot of firewood, and, you know, I'm not going to take and video everything I do. I just get tired of it really quick. But anyway, this saw has had the shit beat out of it. I expected to find bearings wore out and stuff once I went to servicing it and checking it out. Bottom end of it feels just like it did the day I put it together. I pulled the top end off of it to make the saw a little hotter. We done a piston swap in it. I think I may have that on the channel. I'm not 100% sure, but I know we put one of the Duke's pop-up pistons in it. Nothing fancy. It was a $24 piston. I decked a little more material off of the base. Again, some of that, you know, DIY machine work, I guess I'm going to call it, but got squished really, really tight on it. I wish I'd have done compression before and after, but I didn't. I've never had a gauge on it. I don't know what it makes. It's nowhere near as hard to crank as the big bore saw, I will say that. But with that said, I also went in and done a lot more lower transfer work. At the time, I really wasn't, opening them up as much as I could. I'd kind of got into that, they didn't need it. You didn't have to fool with it. A lot of guys preach that, but I just feel they're leaving a lot on the table. It doesn't make any sense to me. Since then, I've taken saws down, and that's all I've done to them was went back in and opened up the lowers to where they were case fed, and, just made a tremendous difference in the way the saw performed. But, everybody has their own way, and, most of us, including myself, need to realize that. But I'll promise you I'm not going to show you anything on this channel that doesn't work and that's going to hinder the performance of your saw, or the reliability of it. But with that said, that cylinder, it looked like new. I've still got the piston over here. It could be stuck right back in something. Looked just like it did the day I put it in. I think this is one of the ones I've shown the exhaust port, while I polish them. I've shown it on a bunch. And, a milling saw's getting the hell beat out of it worse than anything you can do, in my opinion. But anyway, this thing rips. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I wish I would have ran it with the same bar and chain against the other two saws. In that size of wood, it's going to be hard to tell. It's got killer chain speed, killer torque. Like I said, hell, I've milled with it, and it done a damn good job. It was a lot more powerful than what I was used to before, but we have the 880 for that now. Really wanted to get it out and run it, but it's going to need a touch-up on the chain. It's a 32 inch, and that just don't interest me at all right now in doing. As I'll probably do it behind the square fall, because it is it's a square ground chisel chain, and we'll be milling with it eventually. But this thing flat out rips. That's one of my chains I've ground and set up here in the grinders. You can see it I forced it through a couple times. I let it feed itself through. I really couldn't imagine how one of the Sylvie or Symington grinders do. I've just got this. It's the Taconic, same thing as the Oregon. It's like a $180 grinder. It does a round grind. If you're out, it's really easy to touch back up the round fall. I grind everything. I think I got the head angle set at 60 degrees. Seemed like I was using 55, and it just didn't have the pull that I wanted, if that makes any sense. Then I grind about everything at 25 degrees, no matter what it is, unless it's a milling chain, and we set them up at around 15 degrees. But I have done a couple of them at around 20, and they done just fine, and, cut really well and held the edge good. But then there's one more angle on the bottom of that grinder. A lot of people preach it, and it's, if you're holding your file, I guess it's your downward angle, or I guess you could call it a chassis angle on the chain, or I don't know. I'm sure there's a proper term, but chisel chains require a 10 degree. I just leave it set at 0 on everything. I've tried it from 0 to 15 degrees in 2.5 and 5 degree increments. Didn't get a noticeable difference in a timed cut and nothing. It could just be the wood that I cut, but doesn't do bad at all, but way out in the left field there on that chain topic. But I'm trying to think. That is an Archer chain. I'm pretty sure any of the 24s I've ordered have been Archer. I've got 3 or 4 of them hanging here. One of you guys had just asked about the Archer bars. Man, just go for it. If you're doing a lot of bore cutting or something, you may want to upgrade to their pro-tipped bar, or even go to one of these Samiras, or, a Stihl or Husky with the pro-tip on it. But I've got a couple of the bottom of the line, I call them. They're like a Timber Max bar. One sitting here. I know he said he'd seen me use them. I really don't own but maybe half a dozen of them, if that. Not a bad bar. They wire about like anything else. If your chain's dull and you're pushing or dogging in a lot and forcing the saw through the wood, you know, every 3 or 4 sharpens or something, you're going to have to dress your rails up on it. But for the money, you really can't beat them. I actually just ordered one of the Husqvarna bars. I'd bought one of their cheaper line bars 3 or 4 years ago and wasn't real happy with it at all. But this one was on sale, Black Friday deal, so I threw it in on my order for the Husqvarnas. It was a 28 inch. I have no need for a 28, but whatever. We bought it anyway. It was a good deal. I'll probably show it when it gets here and give my thoughts on it. But I really like these Samira bars. They're nice. Rails on them don't wire down as nowhere near as bad as, you know, even a stock bar that I've seen. But yeah, I thought I'd throw you guys a quick little video together here on Thanksgiving Day. I just went in and kind of stuffed my face. I've got another video on my phone I may upload to you just showing some projects and some saws we just kind of traded for with the Simple Man. If there's a saw you're looking for, let him know. He'll either have it or he'll find it or know somebody that can find it. And he'll help you out on it. But that said, all you guys have a great day and a happy Thanksgiving, and everybody have a good weekend.